You are listening to The Vocal Technologist. Spoken tech for your ears.
Imagine being handed the architectural blueprints for like the most advanced uncrashable digital fortresses in the world.
Oh yeah, the really heavy stuff.
Exactly. We are talking about the inner workings of Cloudflare, AWS auto-scaling, Lambda architectures. I mean, the literal structural steel that keeps the modern internet from just collapsing under its own weight.
Right.
Now, imagine that the second you unroll those blueprints to study them for this deep dive, the paper instantly vaporizes in your hands.
Poof, gone.
Just leaving you holding absolutely nothing. Because that is exactly what happened with the stack of sources you gave us to prep for this deep dive today.
It really is a stunning paradox, because looking at the initial topics you submitted, we were geared up for a highly dense mechanical exploration into, the absolute cutting edge of cloud infrastructure and artificial intelligence.
They have buzzwords right now.
Yeah, these are deep architectural shifts in how global software is being deployed right now.
Okay, let's unpack this, because here is the twist. When we actually went to pull the text from these 3 highly specific technical sources you gave us,
Yeah.
every single one of them led to the exact same dead end. A 404 error page from a massive tech newsletter.
Which is just wild.
The content was completely gone, vaporized.
But that actually presents a really unique analytical opportunity for us.
How so?
Well, we could throw our hands up and cancel the analysis, sure, but analyzing the shell of this website, the ghost of the information, it actually gives us a far more accurate understanding of the current tech information landscape than the articles themselves would have.
I love that. So we're going to treat these missing pages as a digital crime scene.
Exactly.
That is our mission today. Instead of reading the articles, which no longer exist, we are going to unpack the clues left behind.
We have to work with what we have.
Right. We're going to examine the tantalizing headlines, the brutal irony of the error message itself, and of course, the unkillable subscription pitch at the bottom of the page.
The only thing that survived.
So let's start with the only specific technical data we have left. The headlines of these 3 ghost articles. Let me just read the exact text of these titles to set the scene for you.
Go for it.
Artifact number 1. It's Cloudflare 1. LLM-generated incident reports, EC2 G7.
Okay.
Artifact number 2, developer productivity and AI, Modelplane on Crossplane, code transformation.
Mm-hmm.
And that artifact number 3 is ECS auto-scaling, Lambda micro VMs, practical GitOps.
Just hearing that specific grouping of words, it perfectly maps out the tech industry's current survival priorities.
It's like finding a menu for a 5-star restaurant that just burned down.
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
We don't get to actually eat the meal, but we know exactly what the people in town were craving, right?
Yes. Even without the body text, these titles show us exactly what 1.6 million readers of this newsletter currently deem most critical to their careers.
Which seems to be, 3 main things?
Yeah, it breaks down into 3 intersecting obsessions: AI integration into daily grunt work, hyper-efficient cloud scaling, and infrastructure as code.
Let's dig into that first one, AI integration, because it's not just about chatbots here, is it?
Not at all.
The headline specifically mentions LLM-generated incident reports. For the uninitiated, why is that specific application so enticing to an engineer?
To understand that, you have to look at the mechanics of an incident report itself. When a massive server outage happens, getting the system back online is only phase 1.
Right, that's just stopping the bleeding.
Exactly. Phase 2 is the postmortem, and engineers have to manually comb through thousands of lines of server logs, trace the cascading failures across multiple microservices.
Sounds awful.
It is. They have to write up a highly detailed chronological report of exactly what broke and why. It is universally despised, grueling forensic work.
So the AI steps in to do the grunt work.
Right. What this headline promises is an LLM, a large language model, that is integrated directly into the system's observability tools. The AI acts as an automated forensic accountant.
Wow.
It ingests the massive dumps of log data in real time and synthesizes the timeline and the root cause instantly.
So it is automating the absolute least glamorous part of software engineering. That makes a lot of sense.
Oh, yeah.
Let's move to the infrastructure side then. The headlines mentioned EC2 G7 and ECS auto-scaling. Now, I know EC2 is Amazon's elastic compute cloud, but why is a specific instance type like a G7 making massive headlines?
Well, the G stands for GPU, or Graphics Processing Unit.
Right.
And while the G7 instances represent the cutting edge, the underlying mechanism is really what matters here. Standard computer processors, CPUs, they are great at doing complex tasks one at a time.
Right.
GPUs are designed to do thousands of simple math problems simultaneously, and that parallel processing is the exact mechanical requirement for training and running AI models.
So it all comes back to AI.
Always. Right now, the entire global tech industry is facing a massive physical bottleneck, and that's access to high-end chips, specifically NVIDIA's Tensor Core GPUs.
So they're desperate for hardware.
Exactly. So when a newsletter highlights EC2 G7 instances, it is signaling to developers that new specialized computing power is available to rent.
Which is a huge deal.
It is critical because AI requires so much compute that everyone is suddenly terrified of either running out of power or, paying exorbitant costs for idle hardware.
Which perfectly brings us to the next term in that third artifact, Lambda micro VMs.
Right.
Now, I understand the general concept of a virtual machine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Software that pretends to be physical hardware so you can run multiple operating systems on one server.
That's the basic idea, yeah.
But what makes a micro VM different? Like, how does it actually work under the hood?
Well, traditional virtual machines are incredibly heavy. When you boot one up, it has to emulate an entire computer. A fake motherboard, a fake BIOS, a fake hard drive controller.
And that takes time.
That boot process takes minutes.
Yeah.
But modern cloud applications, especially serverless architectures like AWS Lambda, they require spinning up an environment in milliseconds.
Milliseconds, wow.
Yeah, you spin it up, run a single tiny function like resizing a photo you just uploaded, and then you destroy the environment immediately to save money.
Well, yeah, you can't wait 2 minutes for a fake motherboard to boot just to resize a JPEG.
Precisely the problem. So engineers developed micro VMs, leveraging open source technology like AWS Firecracker.
Firecracker, okay.
And they strip out all that legacy hardware emulation. A micro VM provides just the absolute bare minimum isolation required by the Linux kernel to run that specific code securely.
So it's super lightweight.
Because it is so stripped down, it boots in fractions of a second. It gives developers the extreme speed of running code locally, but with the strict security isolation of a traditional virtual machine.
Which is the best of both worlds.
Exactly, allowing cloud providers to pack thousands of securely isolated customer workloads onto a single physical server.
Okay, that definitely clears that up. Now, I want to look at the third obsession you mentioned, which is infrastructure as code.
GitOps.
Yeah, the headlines give us practical GitOps and Modelplane on Crossplane. I've heard the term GitOps thrown around, but I want to try an analogy on you to see if I'm grasping the actual mechanism here.
Go for it. Let's hear it.
Tell me if this works. It seems like practical GitOps is essentially turning a data center into a player piano.
A player piano. Okay.
Hear me out.
I'm listening.
In the old days, if you wanted a server configured, a human being had to physically log in and press the keys. Installing the operating system, opening the network ports, configuring the database.
Right, very manual.
But with GitOps, the Git repository, which is just a version control system for code, right?
Mm-hmm.
It acts like the punched sheet music for a player piano.
Oh, I see where you're going.
The developer punches the holes by writing a configuration file that says, I need 3 servers in a database. They feed that sheet music into the system, and the infrastructure automatically reads the holes and presses the physical keys in the data center to make it happen. Human hands never actually touch the server keys.
That is actually a highly accurate mechanical comparison. I like that. But let's take that a step further to explain the other term in the headline, Crossplane.
Okay, how does Crossplane fit into the player piano?
Well, what happens if a human operator accidentally walks up to your player piano and unplugs a wire, breaking a key?
Everything stops.
Right, in a traditional setup, you have an outage until a human fixes it, but Crossplane extends the Kubernetes API to manage anything, not just local containers. It runs a constant reconciliation loop.
Meaning it constantly checks reality against the sheet music.
Yes. It looks at the Git repository, your sheet music, and says, the code says we should have 3 databases. Then it looks at the actual cloud provider and says, wait, I only see 2. Someone deleted 1.
Oh, wow.
And then Crossplane instantly automatically provisions the missing database to make reality match the sheet music again. It turns physical infrastructure into a self-healing software loop.
That is genuinely fascinating architecture. But, this brings up a major point of friction I have with the way this newsletter is presenting these deeply complex systems.
Whoa, what's that?
When I read the titles aloud earlier, you couldn't see the formatting. But looking at the raw text of the artifacts you gave us, every single one of these heavy technical terms is followed by an emoji.
Ah, the visual punctuation.
It's intense. I mean, we have a robot face for Cloudflare 1, a memo pad for incident reports, a lightning bolt for EC2 G7, an airplane for Crossplane, a balance scale for auto-scaling, a cloud for micro VMs, a scroll for GitOps, and a twisted arrow for code transformation.
It's a lot of symbols for sure.
I really have to push back on this. We just discussed how intricate a micro VM hypervisor is. Putting a fluffy little cloud emoji next to it feels, I don't know, infantile. It reads like a children's book about server farms. Does this heavy use of emojis cheapen the highly complex architectural discourse we are supposed to be having?
I completely disagree that it cheapens it, actually.
Really? Defend that. Because to me, it looks like a cheap trick for clicks.
Well, if you look at cognitive load theory and how we actually process digital information, the emoji isn't a stylistic choice at all. It is a vital user interface mechanism.
Explain that, because I'm not seeing it.
Consider the environment where this text lives. These headlines are designed for an email inbox, an inbox that a developer is likely opening at 8 a.m., sitting amidst 50 other automated alerts and emails demanding their attention.
Just a wall of text.
Exactly. Human brains are terrible at rapidly parsing walls of uniform text, but we excel at pre-attentive visual processing.
Pre-attentive, meaning you understand the concept before you consciously read the word.
Yes. When an exhausted programmer scans down a list of 50 subject lines, they simply don't have the cognitive bandwidth to read every syllable.
Right.
But when their eye catches the balance scale emoji, the visual cortex instantly flags the concept of load balancing or auto-scaling before the language center of the brain even processes the acronym ECS.
I'll get it. You see the robot, your brain instantly loads the context for AI.
Exactly. The emojis serve as cognitive offloading. It is a survival mechanism for the attention economy, allowing high-level professionals to triage complex information at a glance.
Okay, I see the logic there. It's a UX shortcut for a fatigued brain. I'll give you that.
It really works.
But that actually brings up a massive contradiction, which leads us to the second phase of our digital crime scene today.
The 404 error.
Yes. If these tools, Cloudflare, ECS auto-scaling, if they are so vital for keeping the modern web alive, why couldn't I load the actual article about them? I mean, all those highly optimized, emoji-laden headlines, they all lead to a single sentence of body text. Sorry, the page you're looking for doesn't exist.
The dreaded 404 not in found error.
The irony is just staggering. Think about the mechanics we just discussed. Cloudflare One is an enterprise-grade network tool designed specifically for zero-trust security and preventing downtime.
Right.
ECS auto-scaling literally exists so that if 1 million people suddenly click a link, the server detects the CPU load, duplicates itself, and distributes the traffic to prevent a crash.
These are the absolute gold standards of digital reliability.
And yet, the very page hosting the articles about these miraculous uptime tools vanished.
What's fascinating here is that it is the ultimate demonstration of link rot. But to understand why this happens, we have to look at the mechanics of a 404 error itself.
Right, because it's not a crash, is it?
No, a 404 does not mean the server crashed. If the server crashed from too much traffic, you would get a 500-level error, like a 503 service unavailable.
Wait, so the infrastructure actually worked perfectly?
The infrastructure did exactly what it was told to do. A 404 means the server is online, it is communicating with your browser perfectly, and it is explicitly telling you, I looked in my database, and the specific file you are asking for is simply not here.
So this wasn't an infrastructure failure, it was an organizational failure.
Which makes it even worse, right? It highlights the illusion of digital permanence.
The illusion. I like that phrasing.
We have this collective assumption that the internet is an infinite archive written in ink, that if a technical solution is published on a major platform, it is stored in a great digital library forever.
That's not.
The reality is that the modern web is highly ephemeral. When a newsletter platform migrates to a new content management system, or, they change the routing structure of their URLs to optimize for a new search engine algorithm, old links break.
Yeah.
Databases get purged to save on cloud storage costs. It just happens.
So it's not a library, it's an etch-a-sketch.
A corporate etch-a-sketch. And suddenly, massive amounts of institutional knowledge just vanish.
Think about the last time you were researching a critical bug in your code at, 2 a.m. You finally find a forum post from 3 years ago that describes your exact problem perfectly.
Oh, I know this feeling well.
The author says, I fixed it, here's the detailed tutorial, and they provide a link. You click the link, and you get a 404 error. It is a visceral feeling of betrayal.
Truly heartbreaking.
Because we rely on the web as an external hard drive for our brains. When a link dies, a neural pathway to that knowledge is physically severed.
Absolutely. And I want to point out another layer to this disappearance. Do you think the LLM-generated incident report promised in that first headline is currently being written by an AI somewhere, analyzing the server logs to explain why this very page disappeared?
That would be the ultimate closed loop of tech irony. An AI writing a report about its own missing article.
It probably is.
But what's really wild is that while the technical knowledge was wiped out on this site, not everything on the page was gone. Which brings us to the third artifact of our crime scene today.
Right, the survivor.
Exactly. The content vanished, the URLs broke, but one thing survived, the server migration perfectly intact. The lead generation funnel.
The most resilient architecture on the internet.
No kidding. The remaining text on every single one of these dead pages reads, and I quote, "Get the most interesting stories in startups, tech, and programming delivered in a free daily email. Subscribe. Join 1,600,000 readers for one daily email."
Yeah.
I mean, if the content is gone, why does this page still exist in this format?
Because we have hit the ultimate unmovable object of the internet economy. The true purpose of this webpage was never to host a permanent archive of articles for public benefit.
It wasn't about the articles at all.
No, its structural purpose is to capture email addresses. That lead generation function is tied directly to revenue, which means it must survive even if the educational content itself is allowed to rot.
The system will let the article on practical GitOps die of neglect, but it will ensure the subscribe button has 5 nines of high availability.
Exactly. And look at the scale of the number they are boasting about. 1,600,000 readers, 1.5 million people.
It's massive.
That is the population of a major city like Philadelphia. An entire metropolitan area of people all turned into this one specific frequency, focused entirely on niche topics like startup funding, model planes, and code transformation.
It really puts into perspective how massive the technical workforce has become.
More than that, it highlights the intense pressure of continuous learning required just for basic survival in the modern workforce.
Oh, for sure.
This isn't leisure reading for these developers. If you are a software engineer today, the half-life of your professional knowledge is shrinking rapidly. The tools you mastered 3 years ago are already being replaced by the AI integrations and Crossplane architectures we discussed earlier.
So if you stop reading, you fall behind.
If you aren't reading about code transformation today, you risk becoming obsolete in 18 months. That 1.6 million number is a metric of industry-wide anxiety as much as it is a metric of curiosity.
I completely agree with the anxiety aspect, but I want to challenge the format they're using to relieve that anxiety.
Okay, challenge it.
The pitch says, delivered in a free daily email. The key word there is daily.
Right.
Think about the density of the concepts we just broke down. Lambda micro-VM hypervisors, GitOps reconciliation loops. Is one daily email actually the right pace for a human being to learn deeply technical concepts? Or does this rapid-fire fire hose format practically guarantee that yesterday's vital must-read news becomes today's 404 error?
That is a great question, and it raises a critical distinction between ingestion and digestion in how we acquire knowledge.
Oh, I like that framework. Walk me through that.
A daily email is optimized purely for ingestion. It delivers a dopamine hit. You open your inbox, you see the emojis, you skim the high-level buzzwords, and you feel immediately informed.
You feel like you're keeping up.
Exactly. It gives you the sensation that you have your finger on the pulse of the industry. But digestion, the actual process of deep learning, of taking a concept like ECS autoscaling, understanding its core mechanics, and applying it to your own server architecture, that takes significant time.
You can't do that in 5 minutes over coffee.
It requires deep work. The daily cadence isn't designed to support deep work. It is designed to maximize daily engagement metrics.
So this subscription model inherently prioritizes the delivery mechanism over the actual preservation of the knowledge.
Definitely. The business model of a daily newsletter relies entirely on you opening tomorrow's email for the new thing. There is zero financial incentive for the publisher to spend money maintaining a perfect, easily searchable, permanently hosted archive of what they published 3 years ago.
Right, because it doesn't make them money today.
The value is strictly in the immediacy of the current send. Once the email hits those 1.6 million inboxes, the publisher's job is done. The fact that the web version rots away and gives us a 404 error isn't a bug. It is a side effect of a system that only looks forward and never backward.
It's like a conveyor belt that just dumps all this incredible research and synthesis off the edge into a void the second it passes your field of vision.
That's exactly what it is.
The tragedy is that the human beings who wrote these articles, they likely spent days researching the intricacies of EC2 G7 instances and NVIDIA chips.
Yeah.
But the container they were forced to pour that hard-earned knowledge into, the daily email, is fundamentally ephemeral.
Which perfectly encapsulates the findings of our digital crime scene today. We started with a stack of dead links and a lot of initial frustration, but by treating the error pages as artifacts, we actually uncovered the underlying mechanics of the modern tech information machine.
We didn't get to read a single word of the actual articles, but we still managed to extract the core insights.
We really did.
We analyzed the heavy use of buzzwords and emojis to see exactly how developers are managing cognitive load while trying to keep up with the frantic pace of AI and cloud infrastructure. We examined the mechanical irony of a 404 error, taking down an article about tools designed to prevent server failures, reminding us that link rot is an organizational choice, not a technical glitch.
Right.
And we stared into the face of a massive 1.6 million person subscription machine that trades deep learning for daily engagement metrics. We didn't read the articles, but we successfully read the room of the tech industry.
It is a powerful demonstration that sometimes the structural packaging of information tells you far more about a culture than the product itself ever could.
So what does this all mean? We took a detour today, and it absolutely proves that the medium truly is the message. But it leaves me with a somewhat haunting thought that I want to pass on to you to mull over on your own time.
Oh.
Think about those 1.6 million tech professionals. These are the very people writing the code, configuring the cloud servers, and training the artificial intelligence models that are going to define the structural reality of our society for the next century.
Right.
If they are consuming their foundational professional knowledge through a daily ephemeral fire hose, a system where yesterday's deep technical archives quietly disappear behind 404 errors to save a few cents on cloud storage, are we building our collective technological future on a foundation of amnesia? When the email is deleted and the link rots, where does all that foundational knowledge actually go?
Spoken Tech for your ears.